When I was at the Japan Mobility Show, the iconic SP sports car from Mazda stole the show. It was one of the most gorgeous concepts David Chow and I had ever seen. And it seemed like Mazda was really insinuating that this vehicle, whatever it is, whether it's an MX-5 or whether it's, a spiritual successor to the RX-7, whatever it is, Mazda was really hinting that it would be coming to the market in the near future, in the next couple years. Well, check out what's happening. Over at burlapcar.com, they've stumbled upon some patented images of the MX-5. Or what could be. So let's get into it. If you guys are excited for anything next gen MX-5 Miata, smash the heck out of that like button. I only have access to 3 right now, but if you guys stumble upon more of these images, definitely email me or message me over on the Instagrams. So what we have up is the first patented image, and we're going to compare it to the iconic SP. Now, keep in mind, the way these images are patented, it's hard to tell the exact angles, the exact curvatures of the vehicle. With that being said, there are definitely noticeable differences here. All right, so let's start with the roof. The roof here seems to have more of this double bubble. I know it is present here on the iconic SP. Let me show you a little bit. You can see a little bit better from the back. Okay, so that doesn't seem to be that much different. As we move down, you can say, Kirk, the side mirrors are the same, meaning they're digital cameras. Yes, they are digital cameras that give you the mirror effect with an internal screen on the inside. We haven't seen that on any Mazda. The design of them are completely different here. You see the little circle at the edge and then like a stick holding it, right? It's almost like a teed up golf ball. That's not the design we had on the concept. When I start seeing differences with patented images compared to the concept that we're looking at below, it starts for me to wonder if this is actually coming to production. If it was exactly the same, I'd be like, no, it can't work like that because there's too many things about this that wouldn't qualify for a production car. But when we see small differences start to show up on the patented image, it starts getting me really, really excited. But I'm still not going to put all my eggs in the basket. Now, we can also tell these wheel arches on this concept are much more impressive, much more aggressive than the seemingly smoothed out ones here. And with them being more smoothed out, maybe it is an MX-5. Just check out the pop-up headlights. These are eerily similar, but they are not identical. Notice how this little teardrop comes down right here instead of the very corner. So we could be getting pop-up headlights for the next gen MX-5. The thing is with these pop-up headlights, they can't be down while you're driving due to modern laws. They have to be up when the car is up. All right. So, but you might be able to do the winking effect. So that's pretty cool. Maybe by default, when you turn the car on, they pop up, but maybe you can, do that blinking thing for like the NA Miata lovers know and get to enjoy still to this day. All right. But what we do see the teardrop, it flows straight into this inner grill piece like it does in the concept. So they kept that. And also there's no hood line here. At least I don't see one. So that gets me a little bit worried. The grille design is nearly identical. You can see this little drop right there, and that is mirrored on this patented image. And it lines up well with this inner piece. The Mazda logo is right there in the middle. It looks pretty darn close. Now, the iconic SP had this additional little lip here at the very bottom that we don't see on the patented image. So this image is actually taken from the 360 video that Mazda provided for B-roll, but it's still pretty high quality here. So this is the closest angle I could get to this vehicle, but my gosh, even the angle of the roof seems identical here. It might seem like the actual iconic SP in the front is a little bit wider than what we're seeing here. So with this being scaled back a little bit, maybe it is an MX-5 and not this kind of quasi RX-7 successor. Again, no lip here at the bottom. The grille's pretty much identical. The headlights, we already talked about their differences. But the fenders look to be very, very similar. Now, it looks like this is lower to the ground, but it could just be the camera angle difference between the two of them. The window proportion seems to be identical. And then we look at the bottom of the vehicle, there's seemingly a lot more sucking in on the sides that's going on right here. So we actually have a door line here. We didn't have a hood line, but we have a door line. And this door line cuts all the way down. Due to that fact, does that mean we're not going to have the pop-up doors, the butterfly doors? I mean, the chances of those butterfly doors coming to production were slim to none, right? It would make the car way too expensive. So I think this is indicative of maybe a more production-ready door that opens up like any other door, right? So I think that's why we see this long cut all the way to the bottom instead of this really sleek and sexy door that really sucks into the body. That's what I think is going on there. But check out behind the window, this body line that feeds into the wheel arch and the fender. It is pretty much identical. So, I mean, it's not 1-to-1, but man, it's pretty darn close. Last image. Now, the back might have more differences than actually the other two images. We don't see Mazda typed out onto the rear. We don't have this vertical piece. That's the two most obvious answers. And it seems to be stubbier on the back end here. This window on the concept, the iconic SP, seems to go on a little bit longer and has more depth to it. These patented images give us kind of a different perspective than the normal eye like we see down here. So it could be the same with the window line. It really appears that it's not. So let's start at the very bottom. Now we do have a kind of this red diffuser at the bottom. It is hard to see, but it is very flat. This diffuser seems to really go very vertical. Now we also have this big cutout here that gives the vehicle a lot more depth, more 3D effect. We don't have that sort of inner shelf that is on this patented image. And we also have much more simplistic lines on the rear bumper here with these corner angles here, where these have a lot more motion to them and are much longer. So definitely some big differences here on the rear bumper at the very bottom of the rear bumper. The trunk line here seems to be very similar, but maybe a little bit sharper on the iconic SP. You can kind of see the door line here with this low resolution image. It definitely has it. Remember, we saw the door line here on the previous image that goes all the way down. And again, this line seemingly goes all the way down to the bottom of the vehicle. We don't have this more 3D effect side skirt going on. It looks to be much simpler in design there, but overall the general outline of the vehicle is almost identical, just a small differences here and there around the vehicle compared to the iconic SP. So what is this? What vehicle is this going to be? I mean, an MX-5 Miata is not necessarily a coupe. It's a roadster, right? It's a convertible, a ragtop, or you have the RF, which is kind of like a removable top. Is this the next gen MX-5 Miata? I don't know. Will the next gen MX-5 Miata take styling cues from the iconic SP? I think it's almost a lock, especially after the praise for this vehicle down below. In terms of powertrains, who knows? Mazda teased this as a plug-in hybrid with a dual rotor, and the dual rotor was essentially a generator to top off the battery and be fully electric driven. That doesn't get enthusiasts too excited, to be honest. But you know, the theme of Mazda, well, not just Mazda, but the theme of the entire Japan Mobility Show where this vehicle was debuted, the theme of it was a little bit further out in the future, maybe a decade from now. What does the Japanese car market look like? Mazda says, hey, we can have a rotary range extender plug-in hybrid sports car. But for here right now, what could they do with something like this? Well, they could put a more rev-happy inline six in there with a 6-speed manual or the 8-speed auto. That would be amazing. They could keep it simple. If it's going to be an MX-5, it's going to have an inline 4 naturally aspirated. They're definitely not going to have these butterfly doors, unfortunately, but the pop-up headlights are looking more and more like a reality for whenever this vehicle comes out. But I don't know if this is going to be an MX-5. The fact that it's a hardtop to me means that it's likely to be called something else. So maybe what we're looking at today is not the next MX-5, but next RX-8 or RX-7 or whatever they want to call it. RX-7, I mean, RX-7 has a much more powerful and noteworthy respect to the nameplate than the RX-8, that's for sure. Not throwing shade on the RX-8, but the RX-7's better, everyone knows. So maybe this is Mazda's attempt to just have one coupe. I just can't see them retiring the MX-5. Or maybe finally they're going to have a full-blooded coupe MX-5, and then you'll have the soft top roadster. I think that would make a lot of people happy. What do you think? Is that what you would want? Would you want a full-blown hardtop to compete against, let's say, the GR86? Well, the GR86 could be going to a four-door GT 5 or technically 5-door liftback. But the Mazda has to stay true to its roots with having affordable sports cars that get your senses really involved. And I think they could do that here, especially if the car looks anything like this. I would just want it in my garage to look at. It's one of the most gorgeous vehicles I've ever seen, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So anyways, I'm going to shut it down there. I could gush about the MX-5 forever and anything Mazda sports car related, because if they get the rotary involved, that would be amazing. What if there's a rotary engine with a 6-speed manual, a dual rotor, let's say single turbo or twin turbo? That would be amazing. One last hurrah for the rotary engine. People would go nuts. Anyways, I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.